content better. If it's dark in the background.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting another curtain set and like layering it.
Mm-hmm. Make sure it's dark like that,
Yeah,
right?
like this red, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like this curtains and I'm just gonna do it.
Maybe even throw it in Photoshop and dim it down a little more. Yeah, darken it up. Because the dark background, that's why Netflix does it and Spotify. It's the background like this, like it displays content.
Cool. All right, will do.
So, do we have any questions before we start? We only missed two people.
They're downstairs getting food, I guess.
Really? Alright.
One extra person, I'll be right back.
So,
I got my seaweed here. Seaweed flakes.
so yeah, so before we go into React Native, I just really want to review the server side rendering that we did last week.
Cool.
Because yeah, it is really powerful, and I just not enough people give them enough credit because this is one of the most powerful features that React offers.
But the server-side rendering?
Yeah, they can render on a server and then speed up your app, you know, many times, or maybe you make it feel like it's faster because you serve the content earlier. So and last week we had this bug where I was stuck for like half an hour. It's because in the Webpack config on the server side, it's only on the server side. Inside the output, I need to put in a library target, so that when I do, for example, here when I do export, or here when I do, export default, it can properly get registered on the server. So once I put that in, and then I do compiling. Again, so I compiled all those front-end files into two of these compiled JavaScript, which you're not supposed to read, but sometimes when you're trying to debug, you still need to read it. So, but it's a compiled version, and you can uglify it or minify it later on when you want to put it on production. But this is that. So this is my app, right? Let me just blow it up a little bit. So as I said, this is just one component of my app, and it could be like a parent component of, say, a thousand other components, but that doesn't matter. So what matters is on a server, React renders my app to a bunch of strings, HTML strings, and that I stick that string into the render full page function, which just stick that HTML string into between this div. And then I hydrate this page with some initial data, which I stick into this script tag, and I define a global variable called underscore initial state, and that equals to stringify the initial data. So when this HTML string gets rendered on a page and this script gets executed, there will be a global variable available to me. So I can grab it and then use that as my initial data. And one caveat I didn't mention is that so when your user inspect this on the HTML page, they're gonna see this script tag and they're gonna see all your data. So don't put anything sensitive here. You don't want to hydrate your user's credit card number here. You don't want to hydrate your user's password, even hashed password here. You don't want to hydrate their phone number here, for example, because any squaller can just call this, and then they can just they can just.
What if the page is like very heavy? Are we sending the whole chunk in that each global? Like
the page is very heavy.
The HTML that you render.
Yeah.
You go to initial state.
Yeah.
That initial state is actually a document itself, right?
Right. The initial state is a bunch of JSON or array.
JSON
Yeah.
HTML or some markup.
Right.
If it's like 2 megabyte string, or what? If it's a heavy page with lots of stuff in it, lots of text and stuff.
Right. You definitely want to pick and choose your initial state. You don't want to flush everything down. Yeah. You want to pick and choose the most important, and then you can just do another service request when everything loads. So don't pass everything down here at once.
Okay.
Yeah, and also the strip tab being down here, it doesn't block the rendering, so you can pass some stuff down, but not too much, and no sensitive data. So that's that. So you run this again. You run this server not by calling npm run dev because this is a full stack app. You actually run by in nodes and call index. So we have this index here. And this index, just sets up the Express server, sets up the MongoDB, and then sets up the routing. So, so we see here, we get the home page. We are gonna go into our database and find everything, and then pass that down, the data down to our renderer, and then send it back to our response. So we render on the page. Okay, so when the HTML string loads and then this and the data loads, we also load the our bundle.js. So now it's the time of the front end's job to to set up the front end structure and the front end JavaScript. So it was the initial page. It's not interactive. It's just a bunch of HTML tags. But when your JavaScript loads here, then your React will find a div. This here got element by ID gets this app div, and then render your component again into this div. So this is the div. And because so React sees there's already a markup there, so it's not gonna re-render. But that's what they call the universal rendering. So you render once on the back end, and you render again on the front end. So the second render actually doesn't re-render the markup, but actually attaches all your your method calls, your whatever handler, click handler, stuff like that. So make it interactive. So that's that. So it's universal rendering. Any questions? No? So yeah, so as I say, this probably is not as fancy as some say in Meteor or some other framework, but this is extremely scalable and it's extendable. You can npm install whatever you want into this app and then do whatever you want. There's no limit at all. So I will highly encourage you, if next time you want to build an app, for example, your cousin comes to you and asks you to build an app for him, I encourage you to use this setup, a universal render JavaScript app. Okay, so that's that. Any more questions? No? We're good? Moving on? Okay. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about React Native. Let me just bring it up. For a web developer to be able to make mobile apps, it's always like a holy grail. I mean, it's a dream of a web developer. Try and be like the real full stack, right? You can make a web, you can make a mobile, but before React comes along, I mean, there's really nothing really close to a real solution. So the first solution is people use on a phone and then just render everything on a web to a web view. So on the phone, there's some component called web view. So pretty much it's an app. You launch an app, but that app launch like a mini browser inside the app, and then loads your responsive web inside that app. But it's not going to be like a real mobile experience because you don't have a lot of stuff that's available to the native platform. For example, like a gesture system, or like you don't have camera, like native stuff, or this notification system, for example. Yeah. So so that's what we're trying to achieve. And also there's some other platforms like Ionic that sets up a bridge between your JavaScript and the native framework. So you can write JavaScript and that compiles into native code. But that's not ideal because it's not asynchronous. So it's kind of blocking. So when your JavaScript is executing something, it actually blocks the rendering of the native platform. So that's why when React Native comes along, it actually solves the problems. And instead of me talking about it, if you don't mind, I'm gonna let the Facebook guys tell you more. So I select, this now.
You recorded the class, by the way?
Yeah, I'm recording it. But why is this now?
Check the speaker, yeah, that's fine. What's the output on your computer going to? On the top.
Output here?
I can't see that on the big screen, but it should be,
I connected to that.
so your audio source is not going.
Let me see. Maybe it's because of this TV.
Or can the volume on here?
Yeah, it's about it. Oh, there's something about it.
Check out your settings.
Settings.
Yeah, Apple.
Here we go. Right here.
What is the sound doing?
So
External.
external
Oh no. Output.
output.
There.
So I should use.
Probably the sharp.
But it doesn't work.
Good job. Thanks.
The reason that you can't just build a
IT. It's really nice to have IT on the team.
Just doing my job.
So yeah. That's
So we think we really hit a home run with React. We're using it everywhere internally. Everybody loves using this stuff. But the problem is we're only using it for web stuff. We've also got these iOS and Android apps with hundreds of millions of users. And we've tried in the past to just build web apps that we could wrap in thin native wrappers. But it doesn't work. The reason that you can't just build a web app and expect it to behave like a native app is because building for the native platform yields a vastly different user experience than building for the browser environment. Has anyone here used Facebook's Paper app? Raise your hand. Yeah. So this app feels amazing. It's probably the best feeling iOS app that there is. And one of the reasons, or there's many reasons that it feels so amazing, but people have tried to clone this on the web and no one gets even close. They might clone one feature or one gesture, and it might be a huge code base, but no one gets even close to something that feels as good and is as complete as Paper. Why is that? Why can't we build something like Paper using web technologies? Well, the first reason is because in native, we have the ability to parallelize work onto multiple threads. I'm going to let this video play in the background, but I'll just keep talking about some of the things that are going on. With Paper, we created a framework called Async Display Kit, which allows you to get rendering off of the main thread, which enables you to do some of these super smooth animations. We have web workers in the browser. Some people call out web workers. You can parallelize work using web workers. But web workers are a really crippled API. You cannot do image decoding in a web worker unless you like cross-compile and script in. This is crazy. Pete Hunt tried this. Don't do this. You can't do text measurement. You can't do layout, right? So we just don't have the power, truly, of multiple threads. We also don't have sophisticated gesture handling. This is another thing that sets native apart. On web, we have all of the raw materials. We have the touch events coming into the system, but we don't have two things. One, the proper tooling, and two, the developer discipline around building a gesture system that is advanced and as sophisticated as the native gesture systems. Another thing we have on native is access to platform-specific capabilities and components. Native widgets are a black box. We don't have access to the source code. We can't see what the parameters are. We don't know what the numbers are, the different things that make them feel like they feel. And any time somebody tries to re-implement a native widget using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it always feels like shit. You can get close. You can kind of make something that, yeah, it's like, oh, it's almost indistinguishable. It's not even close. And there's another reason here. In native, we have access to things that you actually just don't have access to. Let's take a Maps widget, for example. There is no way to access Apple's map data outside of MapKit on iOS, for example. So you can't create a map implementation that looks and feels like the native component. On native, we might want to re-implement widgets sometimes, but on web, we're forced to. So as much as it pains me to say it, and I hate to say it, the native environment is far more flexible and far more powerful than the browser environment, at least today. But all that power and flexibility comes with a cost. It's not free. The native environment is, in general, far more hostile to developers and to organizations. When we started building a native-specific iOS app and a native-specific Android app, we had to spin up 2 separate sets of tooling, 2 separate sets of abstractions, and all of this specific platform code and infrastructure and teams that it wasn't portable. We couldn't reuse these concepts. And not only that, now we have to think about things like memory management and thread concurrency and laying out subviews. And also, we have to think about things like provisioning profiles for our devices. You can't just load up a browser window anymore. You also can't just push your entire application by saying git push. Now you have to think about the deployment process. Right? So it adds an unnecessary, well, it adds a necessary overhead to developing applications. And there's another reason it's hard to build native apps. In native, just like with the DOM, you have to use mutative imperative APIs. And we've seen this before. Okay? Whenever we try to build a sophisticated application using those APIs, over time as it gets more complicated and we add more people to the team, this breaks down. But let's get back to React. From the beginning, React has been designed to be able to replace any view system. It can wrap any imperative view system. It doesn't need to just wrap the DOM. What if we take the exact same React JavaScript we've been running on web, and we can use it to power truly native applications? Well, that's exactly what we've been working on. We're calling it React Native. Man, I feel like Steve Jobs. We're calling it React Native, and we're building it simultaneously for iOS and Android. Now, I'm primarily going to focus on React iOS today, but again, we're building it for both platforms. I have a demo. If I click next, it'll just show you a video, or I can just use the phone and do it live. What do you guys want? All right, I'll do it live. I know, right? Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is a very simple movies app. So this app, it literally just lists out movies. And you can tap any of the movies and see a detailed description of it. And you can go back, and this is pretty simple. I can search for movies. Let's see, I'm excited about Furious 7. Perfect. Furious 6. Okay. Right? And the things you can't see is, when I tap the native status bar, I tap the status bar at the top, this thing scrolls to the top. It's a native behavior. The other thing you might not notice is, as I'm swiping, this is the native navigator. This is actually iOS. These are native components. The next app I'm going to show real quick is actually in the App Store, so you can all download it and play with it. This is Facebook's Groups app. Now this app is actually a combination of native code and React native code. My challenge to you is figure out which parts are which. So I'll just jump into the ReactJS conf group. We have a photo here. We're just going to open that. Can zoom. I really do feel like Steve Jobs right now. This is crazy. I'm going to like a post. I'm going to go into another group here so I can do some more fun stuff. We have this multi-photo post where you can swipe between photos, flip them away. View previous comments here. I'm going to focus this text box, and what happens, this is pretty cool. When I go to the top of the post, I no longer am in the feed anymore. I'm in a permalink view. I can post, hey, right? So that actually works. This is pretty cool too. When I like a a post that didn't have a like before, that animation when the one like jumps in. I really like that. Okay, cool. So back to the presentation.
So yeah, so we're gonna start here. And so this demo app is what we're gonna try to be building today. And to get started, we can just navigate here to getting started. And there's a bunch of stuff you need to pre-install. For example, Homebrew and Xcode and Watchman. So if you want to code along, I'll stop. Wait for a second. So you need. We have Node. We have npm. Yeah. So you boot install Watchman, and we're not gonna use Flow, so we're gonna skip that here.
What does Watchman do?
So Watchman just when you spin up a server, you're gonna watch the changes. Here.
And Flow as well?
Flow, no, we're not gonna use Flow today, but that's a type checker, so it'll help you turn your JavaScript into like a typed language. So, but we're not using that today. But I encourage you to check it out. Flow is pretty cool. Pretty much just turn your JavaScript into TypeScript, so you can watch out your types of your variables easily. So once we have Watchman, and make sure everybody's got Xcode 7.0 or up, then and that's for iOS. If you want to set up Android, there's a bunch of laborious process you need to follow. I'll not encourage you to follow it right now, but when you go home, you can just do the same thing for Android. But I've already set it up, so I can spin up an Android simulator here. So pretty much you need to download a Java Android SDK, a Java SDK, and then download this Genymotion simulator, and then you can spin up Android simulator. So so this is the Android simulator. So don't worry if you don't have that. You can follow steps and get it at home. But right now you're gonna do npm install -g React-Native-CLI, so command line interface. So if you do that, I've already done that. Then after you've done that, so just watch out if you get this error, then you should do sudo npm install instead. So after you've done that, you can just do React Native init, and then give it a project name. For example, I'll call it ReactJS 102. Then, any problem? React. Have you installed -g?
Yeah.
The React Native CLI?
Yeah.
So what are we gonna call this one?
Call it whatever you want.
Yeah. Native package.
What, you got coming out fine?
It installed fine. I didn't have to sudo anything, but React Native init. So okay, like which React Native it's like do we feel the sound down? Yeah. Maybe it's anybody got the same issue? With some by the npm. If you start a folder and then inside without -g, just do npm. Okay.
see if it's in no module dash main. So yeah, when you're in it, it's gonna take a while.
Yep.
And when there's so many people downloading stuff from npm, it's gonna take even longer.
Does it grab another beer worthy?
A beer?
Yeah.
I don't know. But probably it's too foamy. Somebody said.
No, it's fine.
It's fine?
That's on. Yeah. Let's see if I can make it in time.
All right. So. Yeah. Everybody.
Command not found.
When you do local install, it's not found.
Yeah.
If you do no modules slash.
I did install that.
And you could do.
This is a folder.
Example.
You that's still install.
What's that?
That's true. A minute.
Checking out your AI experience.
AI.
I mean, your
Like artificial
your
intelligence.
Adobe Illustrator skills.
Yeah.
Is that you write all your UX layouts on
So this is some setup of your npm.
emails?
Yeah.
Action.
Cool.
So after that.
Awesome project.
After that, we can just, so I can run once React Native run Android. Well, you can run Android because you don't have Android set up, but I can't, so I'll run Android. Run Android. What? Run and.
That's spelled right.
Android, wait, React Native. Oh, I haven't CD into it. Okay, React Native run Android. So you're gonna spin up a server and then build stuff. It'll take a few minutes. Built up. Let's see. Okay, need to define a location stuff. Where is that? It's right here. Touch. Touch something. Touch. Local. This is Android specific problem, so don't worry too much about it now. So Android, I need to put put this line here. All right, so building Android dependencies right now. So React Native is about 1 year younger than React, so it's pretty unstable. So you might run into a lot of issues and you can find answers to. So, but it's super awesome. I mean, where else can you write apps for iOS and Android at the same time? So that's why we put up with it. We just power through difficulties. But
A lot of copy pasting.
yeah, a lot of copy pasting, a lot of Stack Overflowing, and then a lot of lost sleep. But
We had some guy from a startup come in and
Yeah.
talk about his experience with React Native. He
Mhm.
said that there's a lot of updating happening.
yeah, there's a lot of updating, definitely. Oh, my Android bill fell.
So is Meteor the same as React Native, or it's just that?
Meteor just wraps it into Cordova.
What's a Cordova?
Cordova and PhoneGap. So,
Oh, PhoneGap, I'm part of that.
yep, and Cordova is, I guess, I don't really know. To be honest, I'm gonna be bullshitting you for any answer I give you. But basically, it allows you to run a web app on your phone.
On a
And
web view?
Yes, but it allows you to tap into the hardware as well. So
There's
you
certain
can-
access to certain APIs or something.
That's what I think. I don't know if PhoneGap or Cordova does that. I'm not really sure.
Yes,
The password is there.
that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's hard to crack.
You getting healthy? What is this? Summer's coming up, bro.
Yeah.
Get that road stuff.
Wait, gotta get the program
Bro,
Right.
oh my god.
Now, so when you open your folder and you go into iOS and just open this this file with Xcode, you just double click it. It's gonna open in Xcode. Go into the folder that you React Native init. So for
I
me,
never-
it's React.
Did someone react native init?
Yeah, did you?
No.
I did.
What's the command?
React Native, React-Native, init.
Init project name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard.
It is. So then go into the folder and then open up the iOS folder and open the this Xcode file, Xcode.
Double click it.
Yeah, double click it.
Yes.
Then in your Xcode, you just hit this play button right here and run it.
Enable.
So we open.
Just run it. Yeah, just click this.
It says enable dev mode on this Mac.
Yeah.
Look at that dialog box.
That's because you probably click on the arrow, the down arrow.
Sorry, Shane, what's up? Nick.
React-Native,
Mhm.
space init, space the name of the project. Yeah, that's it.
In the
Just hit the
folder.
play button.
Yep, just play button.
Okay, it doesn't, no.
Syntax. Just-
Is anybody building in Xcode?
It doesn't have to be in the Explorer folder. You can be initializing outside of the thing, so come out. It's pretty awesome.
Watchman, no pretty, get.
Oh, it's already in there.
Did you homebrew install Watchman? You did? What's there?
We did copy.
Yeah.
Return with basic code.
That's,
Here's video.
I'm able to talk to your Watchman.
iPhone 6s.
So you install Watchman.
Yep.
Okay, and then this folder is what?
Yeah, set up.
It said build succeeded, though.
No, it's.
No succeed?
It's installing, so hold on for a second. Ooh, it's got a hot module replacement too.
Yeah.
my battery is getting sucked out like crazy.
Yeah, that's the way it is when I'm running Meteor too.
My fan is like.
Maybe you want to do, Chris, maybe you want to do brew update and brew upgrade, and then brew uninstall Watchman and then install it again. So,
It yelled at me. It launched the app anyway. Oh no.
so if it builds alright, it should launch a simulator. Right. So,
I'm getting errors.
So you said brew update?
Uninstall.
so there's a brew update and brew upgrade.
Okay.
I have a simulator.
Naming collision is
The little things, right?
Yeah. Oh shit,
Yeah.
I have a Watchman no what?
You got Watchman issue? Oh, yeah, it's an issue. So you probably want to close this and go back to your command line.
Close this.
Okay. So you probably want to brew,
That's failing too.
did you brew upgrade and brew update?
I did that.
You did that?
Yeah.
And
Just
did
install
Watchman?
Watchman.
you brew install Watchman?
Well, I'm having the same error.
So did you brew uninstall and install Watchman?
I didn't uninstall and install, but I did brew update and brew upgrade, and I'm waiting for it.
So it's still upgrading? Okay.
Uninstall.
No, that's it.
That's it?
Uninstall.
Is that the wrong one?
Yeah.
Reinstall it.
Oh, you didn't get it. No, it's the good we built that.
Yeah, this is what I'm asking.
Okay.
And when you convert it,
Yeah, sure. Oh, you did an error. Okay.
you will look at the planning on
I
iOS.
don't know if mine's on. Oh, no, it's not. It's doing so far.
Yeah.
I thought it was on.
It takes like 3 years.
Maybe an update or something.
It opens the simulator, but then it starts.
Oh, it's such a simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's just
lots
UI
of
and the-
fun errors.
Oh.
That's what makes it stand
Oh.
out.
Yeah,
Error.
you were talking about
This is like main collision
works
detector.
better.
Yeah, it's called real GIF. Or real GIF, whatever you want to call it.
We have to
They
do
just install
NPM
it.
style.
Yeah,
That's a good question. I didn't do it, so real GIF. It's really accurate. When you get to up to 1,000 GIFs, and then you like come up, and then that's
Alright, yeah. That's why.
but 1,000 GIFs, like, yeah, at Shutterstock, that's an issue, but like, a 3-person team, it's like, you're obviously not working on the same.
because of the object and install.
Oh, this is gonna take forever,
in CLI.
because I'm updating everything.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
On the right side, it's being recorded, so.
I don't know, also we just last training. Yeah, I've got stuff. I've got that.
Just Slack.
Probably that shit. Install it globally.
Yeah, I probably need to
Install it globally?
install, yeah.
Right,
Right.
add to Slack, you see that at the top? Yeah, click that.
So, let's see.
Are you doing it for,
Have
I
this.
don't think you could authorize in there. Mine's sitting here updating my SQL, so it'll take another 2 years.
Can you send me that, like, the website you were looking at for all the installs and Slack,
You mean this? Okay.
please?
Sure, it's,
Yeah, so we don't.
It's
What's
being
this?
recorded too.
all right. So it's still building. The initial launch is taking a long time, but so it's building here. So normally this server shouldn't see any errors. So common errors would be a watchman issue.
But it's working now.
It's working?
Yeah,
Okay, good,
I
good.
have to do npm start before opening
Do npm start?
the.
Okay. So did you and you install a watchman?
Yeah,
Okay.
I installed it on
Okay.
and then npm start and then open the
Good. Good.
and it works.
Um,
Oh, so you
okay. So
you
now.
can load from here?
Now, if everything works well, you should see this screen on your simulator. And if you open up index.ios.js, this is the file. So if you edit this, welcome to React Native, yay. Then if you reload here, you're gonna see whatever.
What? You can reload that?
So Command R to reload this. So yeah, so if it runs, you're iOS developer now. Congratulations. Put it on your resume.
So what else?
But if it doesn't run, I know it's a pain. The initial setup is always the hardest, so don't be
I
too
just can't get rid of update.
don't be too discouraged.
Can't even get it installed globally.
So.
Oh,
So yeah, when you go home, try to Stack Overflow your issues. It should be pretty common. So I'm just gonna continue. So as I say, if we what's happened?
Vomit. Just vomit. Work on it.
So we see that this is just it's just gonna examine the code here.
what? You can debug in. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, so in that window you can just open up your console and then you can debug in console. So yeah, if I hit Command Control Z, you're gonna open up this window and you can debug in Chrome. And you can open up a Chrome page, which you can bring up the console for it. So you can debug whatever you write in React Native in Chrome. Okay?
So,
What was the command for installing Watchman?
Store Watchman.
So if you-
reinstall
Watchman, that's it.
Watchman.
We will install Watchman, yeah. So when you install Watchman, you wanna just type Watchman in command line and see if it's there. Should be there. And my Android build got some issues, so my Android doesn't fire up. But I'll fire up another app for you later on. But this is it. So we can just start. So let's see. We import React app registry, component, style sheet, text, and view. And if you look into this component here, we see this is pretty familiar to us, except that instead of div and spam and p, we have this view tag, text tag, and view tag. Okay? And the way you set up style is pretty similar, but except in native, we import a style sheet helper and we create a CSS-like styles. And the style is dominantly in Flexbox style. So if you haven't done Flexbox before, you should head over here.
Xbox.
Yeah, and then and master the Flexbox style. So I'm just gonna Slack you guys. It's a complete guide to Flexbox. So Flexbox is a standard way to develop in apps. because the real estate is so small. You don't have to worry too much about spam and margins. So just flexibility. Okay.
So where were you looking when you were looking at the tags? Where is that? That's in
This file is in index.ios.js.
index. Oh, okay. That's in the root of the folder.
Right.
What is the difference between response and CSS?
Excuse me?
What is the difference between response and CSS?
So it's one type of CSS. It just, well, I'm not an expert on Flexbox, but it's just easy to define how your box is gonna stack and flow in respect to each other.
It is CSS, but
Yeah.
it's like it like based on how many components you have in a box, it will organize.
Ah, okay.
It's really cool, actually. She could be like dynamic, but not development.
So, and component is just here like we did before. But in the web we did React.component. It's the same thing. We just extract it out of React. So
So if you wanted to create a new view, you just create a new.
yeah. So we can just create another, say, view, and then create another text. Say. So now you have to wrap everything, in text style. So I'll just borrow these styles.
Where are you? Sorry, I'm just
So I'm in index.ios.js
which is in
in the folder that you React Native initted.
right.
So if you ooh, now we see this error screen. So it's pretty neat. The elements must be wrapped in closing tags. Okay, fine. That means, see, I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't have in closings. So I'm gonna need a giant div, but it's not div, it's view.
Oh, use the same as div.
Yeah, there is a new div now. I can't. Yeah, right here. All right, intended. Now I'm gonna head over Command R. Okay. My box style is messed. I'm just gonna put it
And
here.
you could use CSS to style all this?
Yeah, you could. Okay. So that's how you put in view and text. And
And page, and if you wanted to create a new page,
right, yeah, we're gonna get there. And now you see this is React Native for you. So half of work is done. I mean, any new developer coming onto this needs to learn everything about React, but we already know everything about React. So what we don't know is the difference between view and text and whatever. How do you do a button? How do you do input? How you do that in here? So that's where you head over to here to look at the documentations. So there's the components, activity indicator, image, this view, map view, whatever, a lot. You need to relearn all this. So you can easily make a button in web, but if you want to make it in here, you have to, go over how you do that. And but you already got half of work done, so you already know how to render a view, how to use state and declarative style to, change your view, and that's what we're gonna do next. Okay.
How do you run your code? Sorry.
Run.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of ways. The easiest way is to go into the iOS folder and then double click this Xcode, and then
And just play in my stuff.
and then just hit play here. And if everything's not buggy, then your simulator should pop up and give you this screen. Okay. So let's try to implement that the booby stuff. Okay. Let me just mark out something here. So let me do const f mock data. I'm just gonna copy this. Copy array. I'm gonna have title. What do I have? Year. And say posters. Thumbnail. Just gonna be just some image on the web. Okay. So now, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take all this away. I'm gonna have an image tag. So now image tag, instead of src, they take source and take an object that has a URI. Okay, so I'll have first one, yeah, posters, thumb. No?
So
Yes?
you can have a repository with this now? Like you don't have to, you could get push and stuff?
Yeah, you can push, yeah, definitely. Can push this.
That was a major issue, right, in native development, is that you don't really have the version control or something like that?
In native, you have version control. You still have like a Xcode, no, it's Swift, Objective-C, code base. You can do a repo. It's just that deployment is an issue. You have to submit to App Store, and they take a week to approve. And if there's a bug, you want to submit a fix to that bug, it take another week. And in the meantime, your user is getting mad at you.
Right.
So with this, you can deploy it through some other third vendor, and you can submit your update over the air. So they just like a web.
Okay.
Gets the update gets there like a web, just like over like.
Do you still submit to the App Store?
Well, I haven't deployed any app yet, but the way I understand it is that you submit to this third party. So you can just go, between, you don't have to go to the App Store.
But it's still viewable on the App Store, right?
Yeah, it's still definitely viewable in the App Store. Okay?
You have to pay, so you still have to pay the Apple license, right?
Yeah, I definitely have to pay the Apple license. All right. So just see, and I'm gonna need some text here. Text. So I'm gonna have. I want to define movie is. It's easier this way. So I have movie title. Movie the year. Okay. Let's see, does this give me anything? Over here. Image is not defined. I didn't import it. Okay, so I'm just gonna import it. Fine. Import image.
What does the image component look like? Is that just something that's built into?
Yeah, that's built in. So that's a bridge between the native image component and JavaScript image component. So my image is not showing up. I misspelled something. So
if you're pulling in a URL into an app on a phone, does it only load if you're connected to the internet?
yes.
That's what everything is anyway.
Yeah, or you can prepackage it in your project. So, yep. Let me just. Let me see. Movie, the poster, the thumbnail. Why is that showing up? Let me just copy from here. Let me just copy from some other Fast and Furious. Just gotta copy that. Oops.
That's simple.
That's simple, yeah. Huh? Not giving that. Oh, so it's not this issue. It's probably the URI issue. Let me see. So URI source. So, no. I have this, right? Yeah, I have this.
Try just pasting it in the source, in there.
Where?
The actual URL, just pasting it in there.
Paste in here?
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe I have some.
As a string.
Oh yeah, it's a style issue, so I need to style it. So
Oh.
yeah, whenever you have an image, it's not showing up half of the time. It's a style issue. So for example, if I have, now let me just style it. Okay. So just gonna copy the style. So flex this one, justify content center, line item center, that, and I'm gonna want my thumbnail. I want it to be width. I want it to be say 53. Don't text line. So and height 81. How about that?
This that style sheet
Mm-hmm.
class,
Mhm.
is that something built into React Native?
Yes. So there's a bridge between your the CSS style you want to write and the native style that they take. Okay. So now now I have style and styles. The now and this is giving my image. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have our movie title, our year, and the image.
The title is just called title?
Yeah, I just call it title.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, movie. We can change it here. So that.
Sweet.
Yeah, so if you want to, style it like in the Flexbox way, Flexbox, and then you have to, change your style a little bit. So for example, let me do flex direction, put it in a row, and justify content still center, line items still center, background still like that, and I want to write container flex is equal to 1. So you can read about this flex number here. It's flex grow. It determines when you have multiple items how they should be positioned, with respect to each other.
Right. So the one determines if you have
Mm-hmm.
equal.
Equal,
they're all
yeah.
equal.
Right.
And 2 is double the size.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me just put some more styles here. Title, say font size 20, margin 8, so to make it pretty, text align, say center, and here, text align center. Okay, so now we have pretty much what we need. Let's just put this, so this is.
So you generally
Mm-hmm.
put style, so the style sheet lives within JS?
Yeah.
Okay.
For here.
So, okay.
Right, there's no CSS modules for now.
Oh, okay, but you can't have.
That I'm not sure. So yeah, in React Native, anything in React does not just translate over. So you have to take it one step at a time.
Got it.
So let me rearrange it a little bit. Put my image here, and I put another div or view here. Wrap it this, and I'm gonna put this style.
So view is like a div?
Yep, view is like a div now. So now I have styles dot right container, and then in my text I'll have styles dot title, here styles dot year. How about that? And I have thumbnail here, container. See if I miss anything. Okay, good. So I just put it, rearrange it in the flexbox way. So this overall container, I set it flex direction as row. So that's why it's, going horizontally. The default is column, so it's gonna stack up. So didn't do anything magical, just like that. Any questions? Yeah, so this is how you put one element here. So let's just fetch some real data. So let me just right here.
So if you have a real app,
Mhm.
if you have a web app, you could create like these other routes that are API calls that work with this. Is that how you would do it? How would you-
What do you mean?
Like for your mobile app,
Okay.
how would you integrate it into your web app? Like the database of your.
You mean for a React Native app?
Yeah.
How do you integrate it? Well, the different degree of integration, you can just do an entirely separate app, but just do API calls to get the data.
Okay.
But you saying you want to put your web app in like a web view?
Well, I guess that's the way Meteor works, but I think the way I would like to do it is have it as a separate app, just like this.
Right. So if you want a standalone mobile native app, this is the way to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And do we talk? Is there routes actually in?
Yeah. We're gonna get there.
Oh, cool.
You're gonna get one step at a time.
Mhm.
So let me get some real data.
And from React Native, you still handle states?
Yes. We're gonna get there. Real quick. Right here. So I have my JSON data here. So right now my mock data is no longer that.
What about Redux?
Yeah, you can integrate Redux into it. So I will have a request URL, and now I'm gonna fetch some stuff. Okay. So now I need states. So constructor, we're all familiar with this. Super. Okay, same thing. No big deal. So I'm gonna put a state. Movies. Like empty string for that. Or maybe I'll put no. Okay. Then component did mount. I'm gonna do like this fetch data, which I'm going to define. So fetch data. So what's good about React Native is I package the fetch API directly into it. So you don't need to npm install, it's built in. So you have a fetch and it's promise based. So request URL, then so it's promise based, you're gonna have a .len, then response. So response.json. This is how you handle the promise. Then you have response data. Then I need multi-line. Okay, so I'm gonna set state here. We're all very familiar with this, right? Getting something data when it comes back, we do a set state. So over here, gonna have what? Movies, right? And the response. That movies, which is how they're defined. The signature is defined. Okay, and oh, sorry. Good eye. Movies, and in the end, don't forget this to get done. So this so fetch is promise based, and this so it's a little bit different than a callback based, but there's no magic, just like that. All right. So what should we do in render? Yeah, so we want to, if this, let's see, let's just grab the first, grab the first movie. This state movies. Grab the first one. And we want to be careful because initially we don't have anything, right? So we can't render that. It's going to give us error. So we want to do a condition. If this does the movie, if there's nothing, I want to render, we want to return something, for example, like a loading screen.
Is it this state movies?
Is state movies. Okay, good. So text.
So you couldn't just insert text inside of the view element. So instead of, so you see how you have the view,
Right.
view element?
Yeah. You always have to have text.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have it, it would just be like, I don't know.
Yeah, it will be error.
Okay.
So so if you don't have movies, we're gonna load this. How about I put style here? So I'm gonna give it a title style. Probably okay. See. Oops, error. Property 0. No, okay. Yeah, I shouldn't put this here. No.
Wait, you're returning twice though,
What?
because there's not an else. There's not an.
This is conditional, so this either gets executed and I'm done, or it gets skipped.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a conditional here.
So where is the debugging? Is there a log?
Excuse me?
How do you know what went wrong?
So this actually give me the error screen. So it says cannot read property 0 of null. That means because I had I was defining my movie based on a state, but the movie can be null, right?
Right.
Doesn't give you a line number?
Yeah, it's right here.
41?
41.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Sweet.
So we have loading with fetching stuff from yeah, we just rendering the first data. Okay.
Pretty slick.
Any questions up to now? Yeah, yeah,
That
So-
can be improved.
that can be improved. Yeah, I don't have very good CSS or Flexbox capability. So now we want to render all our data. In the web, on the web, we're gonna do a UR, right? A UL tag and an LI tag, right? Like a list tag. So let's go on now. What we have now is so-called a list view. So if you head over to the API and then you look at list view, it's just how iOS or Android how they handle a list tag. Yeah, and it's so the signature is that should be defined a data source. So instead of a movies, I'm gonna be defining this as. Let me just carefully do this here. Okay, so I need to define a data source. Data source, new list view dot data source, and here you need to give it sorry. Let's make this okay, so it takes a row has changed attribute, and so this is just row 1 is equal. So this data source needs to know if I need to re-render the row. So you need to tell them when the row has changed. So it's gonna watch out for that. Okay, so I put this data source coming from list view in this state. Okay, and then I need a loaded is loaded. So initially it's false. Okay, so that's just how it works. And fetch the same. Gonna put wait. One page, yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna change this to render movie. So I'm gonna make a new render function. My old render functions becomes render movie, and I'm making a new render. So gonna copy this over. It's probably not gonna need this. So I have is loaded. So if it's not loaded, I'm gonna render a loading screen. If it's loaded, I'm going to return. Oh, oops, already inside. So I have 2 returns now. So I'm gonna put this return outside. So if I'm loaded, I'm gonna return a list view. And this view takes the props, data source as props. This will be this data source. And a render row as props. This is gonna be my render movie. So this is my old render function. Okay, and now this function is gonna take a argument movie, which is going to be fed into this function by the render row. Okay, so and then style, would be styles.list view. And I'm gonna put my styles here. This view. This view style. And see what styles do I need here. I'm gonna have padding top 20, background color F5, F7. Okay, so let me see. This should be that. Let me see if this is got me any errors. Errors. Expected token 72. So I'm probably not closing this right. Okay. 72. Wait, so let's just close here. Just close here. It's closed. Yeah. Am I missing something? Missing a closing this view tag. Okay. Loading. It's not giving me. Oh. Now when the movie comes back, okay, here. When I fetch stuff and the data comes back, I'm still having all movies here, so I should have data source. And this is the particular way that they set it up. This should be okay. This state data source clone with rows response data movies, and then I want is loaded to be true. Okay, so I'm calling this data source and I clone with rows, so that's how I feed my data into my data source. Okay, it's just the API of the list view. It's not, it's complicated, but it's the way it is. So that's how you render all your data in here in the list view. Okay, any questions up to now? I know the only thing new to us is only the list view and data source. So let me just review quickly. We set the state initially. We call instantiate list view data source, and set up a function that tells the data source how our row is going to change when it changed. And when we fetch data, when it comes back, we call that data source and then use clone with rows to feed the data into the data source. At the same time, we toggle is loaded from false to true. And here, the list view is used this way. You give it a data source, which is in our state, and you have to define a function that tells it how the list view is going to render your rows. And our function is just going to be the so this function tells the row how to render each individual row. So this render movies is only responsible for one, component, a row component. So this view is gonna call on this render movie function each time when it needs to render a piece of data. Okay, and the style is just how you style that row. Okay. So, any questions?
Where is list view being created? That component, list view? Oh, that's actually a thing that's included into React.
Importing list view at the top.
Yeah, I'm importing this view at the top. So this view is from one of the native modules in the React Native.
So it's like an UL LI kind of thing.
Yeah, you are.
React.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what does that rows changed thing do again?
It's just tell this view how your row is gonna change. So if you look here, have all the documentations, row, render row, and the data source. Where's data source? Data source is right here. Yeah. Well, it's just
So row 1 not equals row 2. What does that mean?
so it means when two rows, the JSON rows are not equal, then you can be sure that your row has changed. Then data source gonna call the re-render, call the set state for you. Okay.
I have a question. So in iOS development, there's like that element of recycling your rows because there's only like so much memory in your phone. Does React Native do that for you, or something?
Recycling your rows.
So like you can only see like I think 15 rows at a time.
Oh, okay.
And when
Then
you scroll up, like one row is technically deleted, but like
right.
it's like reused or something like that. So does React Native do that for you?
Yeah. This view is probably not native, but you can definitely implement it. Yeah, you can implement the low when you scroll, that kind of behavior. Okay. So any more questions? So we're gonna take a 10 minutes break, and when you come back, we're gonna do rerouting. So we're gonna go into other views.
Should we put that in the Slack, what you guys are for?
You mean this,
Just to be clear.
the code? Okay.
Yeah, just. Thanks.
You're gonna commit that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the tutorial so far is on the official page. I'm gonna share, but.
Oh.
This many photos a month. This amount a month. Yeah, that makes sense. But Shutterstock also owns Big Stock, Rex, and Offset, and another company called WebDAM.
Okay.
But there's a lot of the people that take those photos make like cents on each download, and they make dollars.
Fantastic. So people upload those photos in the hope of someone selling, like buying them.
If you're an artist and you upload a photo onto Shutterstock's platform, you could potentially make a lot of money if it's like a really nice, famous photo. Like you could share it on Facebook. You're like, look at this photo I
It's
just
a
uploaded.
nice famous photo.
Nice famous photo.
Yeah, she's always giving you a hard time.
Oh, I'm putting it to Shutterstock. It's not a famous photo.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't really care. To be honest, they make a lot of money. They're basically the artists make money on how many downloads there are.
Okay.
And Shutterstock makes money by package plans and
And you want to create like a functionality.
I'll subscribe and it's
That
like
is
$10 a
native.
month and you figure it out.
You just write native code, or you have to extend.
If there's no React Native
It's like
component for it, then you have to write native code. Yeah.
And where will you write that in the Xcode?
Yeah, in Xcode. Yeah.
And how do you connect it to the?
You just have to build it. You just build it. Yeah.
Let's say maybe some companies buy it, but like, is that like, is that
It's like building a
with
bridge.
the model that can be
Yeah, it's a bridge. Yeah.
actually like sustainable?
That's right.
Foursquare?
Well, no.
Oh, for Shutterstock? Oh, yeah. They have their way. Like, I mean, my buddy that works there, he's in sales, and knows how it works.
Oh,
Some of it.
what, at your company or?
Yeah. Because he sells packages, you know, to different people, like random people. People that just want to hang up a photo on their, like, in their house. Or Shutterstock, which is weird. But
I didn't know it had graphical aspects like that. I thought it was just for gameplay.
for gameplay.
I mean, sorry, I saw Unreal Engine
okay.
on there and I just instantly said gameplay.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I know what you mean, though.
Web pages.
Like, who would have thought that that would have been a multi-billion-dollar company?
Oh, okay. I was like, why am I seeing Unreal Engine? Like, React. Okay, it's because it's Android.
Android's cool. Give iPhone,
Android. And 7 to Galaxy 7. Nice. Yeah, I'm really excited for the VR dev work that he's doing there.
Yeah.
Excited for what?
VR dev work, like the Galaxy 7 I'm getting in the VR kit.
Oh, cool.
It'll be pretty awesome.
We used to do VR at my lab.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did a demo at Sigra. We could draw in 3 space. Like you could be with 3 other people in a room and draw in 3 space.
That sounds.
Yeah, and you were wireless. So
This is the future.
this
Yeah.
is
And everybody that doesn't have a VR headset just sees them like.
yeah, no, I have lots of footage of that.
Yeah,
It's great.
that's really.
And because the graph was in LA, my parents came. And my mom was on a knee scooter because she broke her foot. But she was like, I helped her scoot around. She's like, scoot me over there, I ran out of space. Okay,
I
Mom.
thought
Yeah,
broke her
she
foot
like,
on an e-scooter. I'm like, oh shit.
Nah,
she hurt
nah.
herself in VR.
But she did
That'd be
VR for the first time on an e-scooter.
All right, so I could spawn on another Android simulator. So now it runs too. I just have to copy the code that's in iOS into Android.
I have a question.
Yep.
So what is that Dragon Ball that you have at your dock? I've been wondering what that is.
Which ball? This Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just some BBS. Do you know what BBS is?
What is that?
It's just some bulletin, like old style bulletin board that you just connect to pure, it's not HTTP, so you just can download, but it's in Chinese, so, and just like bulletin style. Very,
Are you tapping into the Chinese government secretly?
No, it's from Taiwan. I'm from Taiwanese, so it's not really Chinese, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. Like,
Yeah.
awesome that it's a Dragon Ball.
Yeah, let me copy into Android. It's now, okay, cool.
Wow. You took the same code and
Yeah.
just copy paste.
I just paste the same code into Android,
Gotcha.
and now in like 20 minutes I made 2 apps. One Android, one app.
Insane.
That's insane. So Android,
It's the same code?
same code. I
Wait,
just
so
pasted.
same row columns, aspects like
Up to now, it's the same code. I mean, I'm not saying 100% the same. So what I did is, so this index.ios.js, I just copied to index.android.js, the same code. So I have 2 pieces of, yeah, it's very insane. So after this class, you better change your resume. You can do iOS, Android, and web now. So you are worth like at least 2 times where you are now. So don't sell yourself short. Seriously.
Yeah?
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do this as a project.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Get some real world experience. Sweet. What is the menu bar on the side there? What is this? Is this for a?
So this
that
is
for a tablet?
so this is a simulator. So you have like a
Oh,
volume,
got it.
and you can shake it. You can, and I don't use Android, so I don't really know what this button does. So but anyway,
Cool.
yeah. So you can scroll.
Have you spent time developing apps with native?
We are just doing that right now. We haven't deployed, but we just finished our web version, and we are going to mobile, like right now. Yeah. So yeah, so I spun up another Android simulator, and I copied the exact code into index.android.io.js, and here it is. So Android and iOS. So up to now, it's exactly the same code. But next, it's gonna be different because the navigator stuff. I'm gonna use iOS navigator for iOS.
Can you turn see that little icon where you could flip the
This?
yeah, click that. I
Okay.
want to see what Flexbox does. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
They did nothing.
It just made the screen smaller, right?
It's okay.
No, it did something. It's just a list. I mean, what are you gonna see?
Yeah.
Maybe it stacks up.
So for iOS, you can run this in different devices too. Here, you can change it here. iOS, iPad, iOS 6, 5, 4, whatever. Okay, but we're sticking with 6 for now. Okay, so I'm gonna forget about Android for now and go into navigators. What navigator works? It's pretty much no, not pretty much. It's a lot like React Router. So we're gonna define a navigator, aka a router. So first thing I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna define a new file. So say main.js, put it in a root folder, and I'm gonna copy this over. So I'm gonna rename this my main component, and I'm gonna export it. Module.export. Okay. And then in here, I probably don't need this view, image view. I'm gonna import navigator, iOS. So it's iOS specific. So I can use this on Android. But if you want to write the same piece of code and that it work for Android and iOS, you can import a platform. Then you can do a conditional, say for example here, you can do if platform.os is equals to iOS, then do something, then else do something else. Okay? Yep, so I don't need this. I don't need all this. So I'm just gonna render a navigator. Return. No, not this. Navigator iOS. Style container. And this initial what? Let me go into the navigator. Navigator iOS. Where are you? Right here. Navigator iOS. So it's not maintained by Facebook. Whatever. So initial route. I need an initial route, right? So I'm just gonna copy this over. Initial route.
So did they deprecate that or something?
Well, they have actually two sets of navigation system you can use, and they have a nice comparison here, navigator comparison. So basically, Facebook wrote a navigator component, and someone else wrote a navigator iOS, and there are pros and cons. Navigator iOS is pretty easy to use for iOS, but only works for iOS. So if you want to work at the same time for iOS and Android, you probably want to use Navigator. But it's easier to use. So for this example, we're going to use iOS. So it needs a initial route. So it takes component, title, and props. Okay. So initial route, I'm going to call this title, say, movies. I have props, so don't worry about props. And I'm gonna give it my main component, which I'm going to import here. I don't need JS, okay.
It's weird that you don't have a closing tag on.
Right. So I'm gonna close it here. Okay. Right, and now needs a style, right? If there's no style, it's probably not gonna like it. Anyway.
How do you use SVGs?
SVGs in React Native? In React
Other
Native?
than inline, you can only do them inline, right?
In native or in web?
Either one.
That's a good question. I'm not
You
sure.
don't have to do inline, you just create a component.
Oh, yeah, you either have to do it fine.
Inline? How do you do an inline SVG?
You mean how you do it in my SVG? Copy the SVG code, paste it,
Paste it in what? Oh, you mean like right into the thing, okay.
right in the SVG tag.
Yeah, it's like the only way to do it,
Okay.
I think.
So what I did is I paste all movies code in a main.js component, and in our root component, I just return this navigator. And if you look over here when I refresh, you see that the only difference is I have something on top. So that's the navigator. Okay? There's nothing much changed. So initial route is my main component. I'm going to that too. Initially I'm going to that component to render that. But now, if I want to, when I click on something, I want to go into the detail of the movie. Navigator gives me, a way to, navigate between the routes. So what I would do is I'm going to import something. So I'm going to import touchable highlight. Okay. So, and if we look over here, touchable highlight is a component, and you see that now on mobile we have to have like an entire different mindset, because everything on mobile is touch based, like a gesture based. So you have to handle very clearly when you touch something, when you scroll, when you double tap, when you pinch, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of components that handle that kind of stuff for you. And touchable highlight is the most common among those. It gives you a lot of ability to respond to the user's touch to give this native feel. So I'm going to use it here. Touchable highlight, and then close it here. Okay, and touchable highlight, there's a prop called unpress. So unpress, I'm going to call a function, right? So say this handle press. I'm going to pass the argument movie here. So I'm going to define a handle press. So when I'm pressed, this particular movie is pressed, I want to do what? I want to go to another screen that has details of the movies, right? So I'm going to potentially define a different view, but I haven't yet, but this is what I'm going to do. So this props navigator push. So I'm going to push my new route into my navigator, and the route is going to have say, let me just look over the API navigator. Okay, push here, push the root. Okay, sure. Push the navigator. Okay, so I'm gonna need a title component and pass props. So again, it's the same as the navigator title. Title, I'm just gonna use the movie that's passed to me. movie.title. Component, I'm going to have a movie component. I'm going to make one. And pass props is what the props I'm going to pass to this view. I'm just going to pass the movie, the information from the movie. Okay. Okay. And touchable highlights. That's one more thing is you can define a color. So it's like a button. When you press it, you can change its color. So it's responsive. So I'm going to give that color. So it's something active underlay color. I can just do say gray. Okay. And now because I define the function in this notation, so this is a caveat. I can't use the arrow function notation in React Native because it's actually ES7, not ES6, so it's not supported yet. So I have to use this this notation, and I have to bind it. So handle press is equal to this dot handle press dot bind this. So remember we went over this in like a second class.
Why did we do this again? I totally forgot. To make sure that you get the scope of this inside.
Exactly. So before we use this notation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But this is actually not yet supported. See, React Native, they have a lot of stuff under the hood. And we don't have like a Webpack or Babel configuration we can play around with. So it's not much we can do. We can just use what we are given. So only this notation works. But in order to use this notation, I need to bind this. So I need to bind render movie. Okay. So render movie is bound. Handle press is bound. Okay. So also I need to have let movie component. Movie, I don't have that yet, so I better make it movie.js. Okay. So here, if you would allow me, I'm just gonna copy something over. So I'm just gonna copy this movie stuff. It's a lot of styles. So here, there's a new thing that's called scroll view, but it's actually just a view that's supported by scroll. But we're not gonna use the scroll feature, so it's really not that much different for us. I could just change this into view and probably not gonna have too much issue. And we have the image, so we're gonna load the movie poster, we're gonna load the movie ratings, we're gonna load the movie synopsis, and there's a separator, so it's just a line that separates stuff. Okay, so that's the movie screen. Let's see if I forget anything. Oops. So you see that when I touch it, the underlay cover is gray. And when I touch it and move my my finger away, it actually cancels the press. So that's why the touchable highlight handles for you. There's so much complex gesture system. You can touch, you can hold, press and hold. You can double tap. So you don't have to write another component to handle all that. Touchable highlight handles that for you. But if I touch it, so it goes to another view. And see, the mock data doesn't have synopsis, so you don't have stuff down there. But this is how you do routing. So let me just review how we did routing. In the root component, we use the navigator, and then we pass the initial route, and then which is our main component. And in the main component, we use a touchable highlight component to wrap our movies row. Then whenever that's pressed, we give an underlay color that's gray, and then we define this handle press function and pass the movie here into the argument. And don't forget this notation. Whenever you pass in an argument, you want to define a function instead of just doing like that. This is going to give you error because this is immediately executed. So you define a function, and then whenever it's pressed, this handle press is going to be called, and then we're gonna push a route into my navigator. So this is how a route is defined. You have a title. So when I go here, you see this is the title of the route, right? So, and I define it to be the title of my movie. So you see up here, right here, this is the title of the route. And the component of the route is movie, which is another component I define. And I pass props. So this is a year 6 notation. This is movie. Okay. So I have to repeat this again because it's kind of confusing. So this is movie. And then whenever I touch this, this movie component gets called and it just renders, the image, the view, the text, and it's supposed to be synopsis and actors down here, but I took them all out. Okay. And if you have a lot of stuff, that's why the scroll view comes into play. If you have a lot of information, you can scroll, and you see this bouncy action. That's the native component doing the work. Because if this were a web view, you render your website in this web view, you're not gonna get this. Okay. And as you saw in the demo, if I touch this on top, it scrolls all the way back to the top. That's a native function as well, native feature. Okay. Any questions on this? So with this simple example, you can already do that.
If you wanted to delete a movie, like swiping and clicking delete, like you normally have that.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you can do that, but you have to.
Is there like a component for it?
Yeah, there's a component for that, and you have to go into components, and then do it, and then use the API.
The delete picker?
Yeah, so you have to. I only use about like 20% of these components. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that's in here because we are not native, we're not mobile developers here, so we have a lot to learn. And I haven't put any mobile app in production, so I can't claim to be an expert. And I'm sure you can design a course just to going over every single thing. So there's a lot of stuff, and it's still evolving. I mean, people are pushing commits to React Native Master every single day. And there's a React Native newsletter. I encourage you to sign up. So there's a React Native new newsletter. So this guy is an amazing contributor to React Native. So you should sign up, and then you'll get all this thing that's happening in React Native land. Okay. Any more questions on this? No? So now I want to introduce something called exponent. This is pretty cool service. It's actually a company that did that. So it actually taking the compilation away from your computer. So it just put it on their server and make it very easy to test apps that you're gonna write. So if you wanna try, I'll encourage you to follow steps with me. So you can download the XDE for your Mac. So it's exponentjs.com. I'm gonna Slack. So you can download this. This one Exponent XDE OSX. You should unzip that. Nobody trying? It's running? Okay. Now, when you when you're downloading, you should actually get out your phone and then download Exponent on there too. So let me so this is my phone. Right here.
It has to be an iPhone?
That I'm not sure.
That's not a phone.
Yeah, it's right here.
How'd you get Exponent to render on your, how'd you get your iPhone to render on your screen like that?
You just connect it to the line and then use QuickTime Player.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
What?
So well, it's nothing to do with React Native, but it's so it's QuickTime Player. If you go into record new movie and then just select iPhone as your so select iPhone like that. Okay, so if you've done both of the steps, you can open up your Exponent XDE and then select a new project, like new project. Then you can create a name, for example, ReactJS Exponent, and create, and open that, open. Then you should be running, Then you should you can put your phone number here. Then you can send a link to yourself. So that's my phone number. No, it's gotta be phone number. So I'll get a link here in a text message.
How did you, what? New project?
Yeah, new project. And then you just
Select the one that you do. The moves?
excuse me?
Select the moves.
So you can use a new folder down here. Open a new folder and then just create a name. Yeah, create a name. So I'm gonna send this again. I put it here. There you go.
Okay.
So and then you can message the link to yourself by putting your phone number here, and then do send link for phone. Then you on your phone you can just tap this link.
Wait, which one? So near it. And then send the message.
Right here. So put your phone number here.
Where?
There's a send link for phone. Everybody seen this? Put your phone number here.
Oh.
Yeah. Then.
So send phone number or email.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I have an iTouch, is it just not gonna work?
Well, it's probably gonna work. Can you do email?
iTouch now?
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't have a phone number, so.
But it says email.
So then you can use email, I guess.
How do you start?
Mine says phone number.
What?
How do you start a new project?
You just click a new project here.
Yeah, but it's asking me to open a folder.
Then you just on the bottom left, there's a new folder.
New folder,
Yeah, I just put a new folder.
new project.
It's a hedgehog.
So everybody seeing this this screen?
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Whoa.
Look at that.
What's happening?
Everybody seeing this? This on your phone?
This is so adorable. I
Yeah.
love
So where
this.
did this is not working?
So what is this exactly?
So yeah, I'm gonna go over that. Why is that?
Nothing.
Wait. Did you open
There's
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
tables down.
I guess it was taking this.
Yeah, it's taking a
And
while.
you can change.
So now you can see it.
Color header.
Ooh, magic. So nice.
So this is, as I said, this just takes all that packaging, compiling stuff on your local drive to the cloud. So you're not gonna see any error with Watchman or error with whatever. So because their server is compiling it, you simply is connecting to the server instead of a local server. So this is their example app right here, and you can open that in your local here and whatever you just the folder name that you just made. You can open that in your editor, and you see main.js. So this is that. So right, see here, this is simple example, right here. Everybody seeing this text here? I can edit that. Hello class. Right, I just save it, and down here I click the exponent on the bottom right, and I refresh. It'll take some time. You see that hello class right here? So you can just develop this quickly and then send it to whatever your colleagues or your client, and they can see in real time.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. So
I don't know what's going on.
it's not working. It's gonna
I mean,
build.
like I just don't in general. I don't know what's going on.
It's gonna build.
No, but what am I doing here?
Did you get your phone? You use email?
Yeah.
You should check your email.
Oh no.
You check your email on the phone.
So if you wanted to share the movies that you just created, can you do it?
Yeah, I can do it, but now let me just try it.
Try that you said. I think the file name needs to change. I cannot find file index.js. I cannot find index.js because the name is invalid.
Oh, you just using yeah, you can just open
Index.ios.js.
yeah, there's some things you have to. You can copy the code in here. Yeah, that's another way. But
Cool. So this goes to the cloud or something? How does it?
yeah, so this goes to cloud. So when you edit it, and it goes up to the cloud, and they send out the new code to your phone.
And then they charge you when you come to the
Yeah.
It's called freemium.
So this is what you use for development, right? To share, the code and the app with your colleagues.
What is the photo gallery? Oh.
So everybody seeing this?
No.
No?
You're getting like an invalid error.
So you're using like a iPad Touch?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's good. So. You can download apps on that.
No, you have to download the app. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So search me some yes.
I mean, it's cool.
Yep. So yeah, it's running. So you
You have to download. You have like app store.
Well, I mean,
It's
cool.
There's a
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, it's like.
Oh, okay.
Writing code in JS is not really.
Okay, yes. It's not.
It's just.
How can I put a touch? Wow.
So yeah, we're gonna spend a few minutes, going over this adorable app. It's actually quite complicated.
Is it really?
Yep. Yeah. You see, for example, the photo gallery. Well, it's alright. It's just a scroll view, but this one is pretty complicated. You see, if I touch this here, changes the color on the header and the status bar. And also these squares, it's draggable, right? So you can drag it and animate it back. Yeah, so some sleek stuff.
Do they switch?
No, they don't switch, but
That's
yeah.
It's not.
It's just
Why
a
is that?
demonstration.
Yeah, it's just an example. So if you look at the code here, the architecture, well, they imported all that stuff. And there's a example screen, the text, photo gallery, example boxes, and some more text. Okay. So here they imported a status bar iOS, and then set the style to light content. So that just means that the status bar is gonna be the same color as the ambient, your app color. So it's gonna grab the color from your header. And here, this when you click on the box, this is where this code is where they set the header color. Okay, and this bunch of stylings code. So let's go into photo gallery and see what's going on. So photo gallery, they hard coded these pictures.
So they're bundled with the.
No, it's from the CDN. It's from the web, and you use it.
Where is this code right now?
What?
This actual code, where is it?
It's in your in the folder that you created with the Exponent, whatever name that you created, right?
Oh.
Yeah. You created a folder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where though.
You can search it.
Yeah, you're right, it's in document.
So if you look at the X photo gallery, or example photo gallery, we see that this adorable photo gallery is actually just a scroll view. And the horizontal attribute is set to true, or just put it here, and it means it's true. If I take this away, then it's gonna be, vertical. See, that's true. I save it, and I tap on my phone Exponent, and I refresh it. It's gonna be vertical. So I just mess around with the photo gallery. Now it's vertical. If I put the horizontal back, that's how. How to get this.
Just when you just save there, you just refresh it.
I save here and I refresh, by clicking this on the bottom right and then refresh, so feel free to play around and see, there's this set to false, patching enabled. And this, when you scroll to the end and you drag, see there's a bouncy effect. That's also coming from the native scroll view component. You're never gonna get this on a web view. See, so sleek. I like it. So here you see inside the scroll view, we map over the hard-coded image sources. You know, the same native React code that we've been working on a lot, that you are all familiar with. And we map this into an image tag with certain size. Okay, so that's a simple photo gallery. Nothing too fancy. And if we look at the boxes, so the box is much more involved. And we're going to talk more about this so-called paint responder. So that's pretty much a gesture handling system that's going to handle your gesture, how you drag or how you tap, or we're going to talk about that in the future on Wednesday. On Wednesday. And also animated too. We're going to talk about that, how you animate stuff. See the header? You see this effect pretty common, right? Mm-hmm. But it's actually pretty involved how you do animated here. So when you scroll, the header title goes, gets animated like that. And and when you drag this box, how that gets animated back, and then the bouncy stuff too. So that we'll cover. Yep. So that's an example app. But of course, when you are trying to do your app, you're gonna delete all this and then stop, coding here. Okay. Any questions? No. All right, so that's that.
So how are the resources online? Because React made like if documentation and stuff for these components, is Facebook the only place where you can find this, or
yeah, this is
the community is that overflow?
Yeah, there's a growing community. Yeah, it's pretty young, but yeah, there's resources there. Just may not be as complete as you would like, but you can probably find like 80% of stuff in there. Like for example, I was searching for when I open up this app, there should be a loading screen, right? Like a logo, and how you would do that. So and I can find it easily, right? So React Native loading screen logo, something like that. So it's still, well, it's not called loading screen. No, it's called startup screen. It's a launch screen. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of support, a lot of help. But there's sometimes what's difficult is sometimes you have to go into Xcode and mess the Objective-C Swift code. See, I have no experience doing that, so it takes a steep learning curve. But, if you want to be a full stack developer, meaning desktop, web, and mobile, that's what you have to invest in, right?
Yeah.
So.
So what kind of backend do you use for React Native?
It's just any backend, right? You can just put up.
You use Rails?
You can use Rails API. You can use Node. You can use whatever. It's just like a like few weeks ago we did this shopping cart, right? We can do the same thing, and you can just hit the shopping cart backend, just get the data. Just do a request.
Can you try and put that into the Express stuff?
Exponent, you mean put these movies? Yeah, I can.
It's just copy paste, right?
Yeah, just copy paste and watch out for some stuff. I haven't tried, but I can.
That is a big disclaimer.
Yeah, just copy paste it.
Let's go based on my down.
Let me try. Let me try. How about I try to put this here? Okay, wait, I should open this up. Good. So it still works there. Okay, and just okay. Let me put it here. Okay. Does this work? No?
Ooh, 500.
500.
You gotta record another.
What? What was his request?
Required,
You're
required
including a
movie.
movie?
Required movie.
21? Like,
21 line? Oh. Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna. See if this works.
Console log.
Yeah, I can console out. Look at that.
Oh!
Look at that.
Nice.
I have my app now. I'm gonna watch a movie. This looks good.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're building a Netflix.
Yeah. So, well, I can navigate, but you know, it is what it is. So,
That's awesome.
yep. And so, and that's that. Let me exit out this, and I have something to show you. Let me exit this.
So where will the console log be?
Console log, when you spin up this development, this debugger, it's gonna be showing here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, let me show you something else. Let me. I can always just. No, it's not. Anyway. Okay. Let me just launch another app. I built this. So this is a GitHub note taker app. It's just gonna be 5 minutes for load. So I'm gonna take a break. It's gonna load in 3 minutes. So yep. So you can just put in your GitHub username, and then you're gonna get your pretty face here, and then you have profile. See your profile. See your repositories, and you can just go through your repositories, and then you can go into it, and it spins up a web view and give you your repository. So yeah, so this is an example app we're gonna be studying next, and also you can take notes, right? So you can take notes here.
Saves,
What?
saves stuff to the database.
Yeah. So nice helmet. Says.
So you are just.
So yeah,
Delete that.
oh, I can delete that. Yeah, we can implement it, but now it saves to a Firebase database. Just remember we do this chat app. Yeah, it saves to that. So you can use a Firebase to use as your database. So again, I can search Facebook. This maybe now I spin up a simulator. That's too big. I mean, it's iPhone 6. Somehow I have to scroll down. But anyway, and you can view profile, repositories. So yeah, so you want to think about how that pseudocode is. How should we do this? Yeah, how to build it out. I mean, how many components we need? What kind of components we need?
So we need
For this app. Yeah, an initial
The app component.
an app component that's gonna return what?
Your.
It's gonna return the navigator, right? Assuming we use navigator iOS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so navigator iOS to give us initial route, which is this route. So we're gonna define this component.
Search.
Yeah, so this component is gonna take a input and search, and when we search, what happens? It's gonna go to GitHub, right?
Route.
Yeah, gonna GitHub, and when the result comes back, we're gonna push a new route to our navigator, and this will be the next route. Let's call it dashboard route. Okay. So and dashboard route, we have image here. We have 3 touchable highlights. This is all touchable. See, touchable highlights. I can touch it. I can move away. It's cancels. This is what touchable highlights
Is that a
for.
list view?
What?
That's a list view?
No, this is a touchable highlight. 3 touchable highlight component.
Ah.
Like, so think of touchable highlights as buttons, right? So your buttons, okay? So when I'm pressed, I'm gonna push another route. So say this is my profile route. I have like a component there, and I have a list view, right? This is probably a scroll view, because I have to scroll down. And then I have repositories. Oops. Repositories. And then I have a list view here. So I can, and when I click on repository, it's going to be another view, but it's a web view. So what's a web view? Web view is just how you want to render your web pages in your app. And it takes...
So the repository is a web view, just like bring all that data.
Yeah, just bring a web page inside this inside your screen.
Also, you can load web views inside your...
Yeah, you can load websites into yeah. So yeah.
Is web view like a browser?
Yeah, web view is it's just like a
Pretty
browser.
much a browser, so
Yeah.
the whole DOM principle applies.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how they make apps before this came along. Is they just use web views inside your app. Okay. So this is a web view, And here, okay, what about the note-taking stuff? Here, well, on top, it's the same component. Here we have a list view of our data that's saved in the database. And here it's just the input, so text input. I didn't just here, so it's the same here, text input. Okay, text unchanged text as props, style, and value. It's the same as the input on the web, but it's just slightly different. Instead of unchanged, we have unchanged text, but the principle is exactly the same. So when I type something and I submit it, I say again, this is touchable highlight, and I call handle press. It goes to the Firebase, save it, and re-renders the list. Okay. So on a high level, that's what this is doing. So it's exactly the same principle we've been going over. It just is different, tag, different props. But that's something you just have to study in the documentation. Okay. So so time is pretty short. Probably not going to go into the full detail. We're probably going to pick it up on Wednesday. So, is any other questions I'll go over? Or?
So this thing, if you copy pasted the code instead of the navigator and use the Google Androids, whatever, the same code will work?
For Android? Yeah. So the same code will work. In fact, if you go into the React Native repo, there's actually examples here. And there's exactly the same movies, but they have full-blown functionality with search and stuff like that. So let me just show you how they work with the Android. So on the iOS side, it's exactly the same as what we did. They're the same, right? Navigator, iOS, yeah. But on Android side, they just use the navigator.
Okay.
Yeah, and then go through with whatever the navigator needs. So it's like the same thing. So if you clone this, you can actually open this app in iOS and Android. And you see that some interesting stuff. For example, a search bar. They have a search bar.ios.js and search bar.android.js. And when you actually, this is a search screen, right? So here, they import search bar by just requiring search bar. So actually React Native is smart enough to look into your code, and then when you are Android, it only picks up the search bar.android.js, and when you are on iOS, only picks up the other piece. So that's how they import stuff. You can have two pieces of the same component, but you just name it differently, and then React Native is just going to pick it up. So you can see that Facebook is boasting that they Android and iOS, they share 80% of the code. But to me, it's more like 60, 70%, but it's close enough. This is, if you're running a company, this is a dream of hiring one person and he can write all three of your platforms. It's incredible. I mean, it's just worth it to spend like the next 2 months, drilling into this and then make yourself a mobile and web developer. It's just, yeah, it's the future. So.
Until something else comes up.
Well, we'll see.
BlackBerry will take over.
Google App Native.
Google.
My nicknames.
Kaizen.
Any other questions?
It's not native.
Anything? And also, there's a React Native native playground. It's so it's not like Exponent. It's only for just showing on the web, so you can see other people's codes. You can see their code, and you can run. You can run here. Tap to play. Yeah, so you can.
Fancy.
Yeah. How does it work? Oh, swipe. It's like a How do you call that?
Tinder.
Tinder?
Tinder, yeah.
Cat. Kitty.
Why can't
Tinder.
it's not working so well.
Because it's just getting the swipe and logs it down there.
Oh, anyway. You can play around. Very native playground. So, you're gonna have a lot of fun. What about this? Ooh, this is fun.
Is it like doing?
Yeah, so you get a car when you click.
But it's from the same, it's from the same place.
Yeah, this is fun. You can study the code.
We also have kids and we just have that and it's really fun. It's just a little bit that instantiates itself and moves up into infinity and
Show you something else.
No, not with authentication, the end user to put it in. Don't worry, it'll only be for iOS. So what can't you do in React that you can do, React Native that you can do in a native environment then? So people don't need to learn like Objective-C and Android?
No, if you obsess with your performance, then native modules always works faster than because you don't need the JavaScript bridge. So if you're obsessed with performance, you definitely want to do native.
This code converts to native code, right? Like,
Yeah, this code converts.
so this will be converted into .c files for iOS and .java for.
Yeah, it converts, but when you process the image or something, you're animating stuff. Sometimes you're gonna drop a frame, for example, because they say it's 60 frames per second. If you are over that limit, 60 frames per second, your user is gonna notice. So if your JavaScript is somehow slow, it's like processing a lot of stuff, then it's easy to drop a frame. So at that time, you probably want to consider going to native and write native code. Yeah. So let me just. This is pretty fun too. I'll play with this. So inside the Facebook React Native examples, there's a tic-tac-toe. So it's exactly the same. Open it, build it. Ooh. So, what I find is you always have to, quit all your previous app. Otherwise, so quit this. Well, it crashed. So, but a tic-tac-toe is pretty fun and illuminating example. So I'll encourage you to study it, and it's not that complicated. Yeah, the logic is there. I believe you all built this before, so yeah, let me just force this quit.
Typical code crashing.
Yeah, this code crashes a lot. I mean. By the way, there's something cool too. I just saw that Deco, it's IDE. They claim that using this you can build a clone of Uber in 5 minutes.
Deco?
Yeah, but I'm always suspicious of something like this. You know, you can do something fast, but what if you want to do something more? Then it takes you 5 hours. So.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to build the main UI for the Uber app in just 5 minutes using React Native and Deco. Now for those of you who don't know, React Native is an amazing new technology from Facebook. It's open source and lets you build real native mobile apps using JavaScript. Deco is an IDE that helps you write your React Native app. It lets you easily search and insert open source components. Here we have the iOS simulator. Deco will live reload the app as I work. I've written a little boilerplate already. I've got a background view and a foreground view. Inside these, I'm going to mainly insert open source components, but I'll also write a little code to hook them up. Now, normally what I'd do is I want an open source component, so I'd Google it, I'd check out some results on GitHub, I'd npm install one, I'd require my code, and I'd read the docs to see how to use it. But Deco makes that much easier. I just type Command I and bring up the insert menu. Then I can search for a component right here. When I hit enter, it pops into my code and I see it in the simulator already. No refreshing or anything. It's pretty amazing. Now over on the left, you can see it's been installed in my project. The code's been required automatically. And the prompts have been scaffolded, so I don't even have to read the docs. Let's try it again. I'm going to insert a location pin. So I search, I hit enter, and there it is. Pretty fast. Now, as I add these components into my project, their props get added to the property panel on the right. This makes it super easy to change things like color and text. It's looking like it already. Now what's actually happening here is as I change the color, Deco updates the value in the code, and hot reloads the React module in the simulator.
It's pretty cool.
All right, let me add a couple more components to finish scaffolding the app. I'm going to add a title bar, a location search bar, and a toggle button. These components are coming from the Deco package registry.
What? Yeah.
You can think of it like an NPM registry, but just for React components. And once I've added these components to my project, I can begin tweaking them so that they look how I want them to look. So just the margin, add some label text, add color, the toggle button, set the border width, the border radius, and add some padding. Change the active color.
Makes you feel like a
Now
design.
it's looking like it already, but it doesn't have much functionality yet. Let me add some real quick. So I'm going to adjust the values in the toggle button, and you can see the live update as I type. And I'm going to connect latitude and longitude from the map component to the prop in the search box. As I move the map, the search box updates automatically. It's pretty awesome. And that was it. In just 5 minutes, I've built a working copy of the main UI for the Uber app. If I compare it against the original, it's pretty much identical. So thanks so much for watching.
All right. So, take
the
care.
whole back end and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like taking a screenshot.
Just take another 5 minutes for the back end. So yeah, thanks for
Deco, huh?
Deco.
I'm not convinced by that.
No?
They make it
I
look
like their idea that the really cool like installing packages from their own
Yeah.
package registry.
That's a pretty good idea.
I'm sold on that.
Then,
Do that in Atom too,
Well, you get,
but it doesn't have that like right side, whatever that panel.
yeah, speaking of Deco, I mean, Facebook was going to open source IDE called Nucleolite. Yeah. So in the last FA I went to, they said they're gonna open source this. So this IDE is for React Native, just like Deco, but probably something fell, so it's not anywhere to be found again. So you can still use it, but it's not getting good reviews. So I haven't tried it, but you can be brave and pioneer to try. Yeah, so we're gonna pick this up on Wednesday and go from there.
cool.